certified by WeatherRate. Sponsored by AC Designs.
Great to be with you, meteorologist Mike Prengley, and all fired up to be with you here on this Fun Day Sunday. We are live at 11 o'clock. What is cool about this is I'm looking at all the new data. We can build stuff together. We're going to look at the trends. Are we finally going to feel like fall? All of your answers right here. In fact, I've got the latest Jaguar forecast. This morning I was a little, how do I say this? A little doom and gloom. I'm usually, got the glass half full. Well, it's usually overflowing with joy. But this morning, I woke up, looked at some of the long-range maps, and I said, my goodness, there's all this vorticity heading toward the stadium during the game where we could actually have downpours throughout the game. But I'm getting some of the new data in, and I'm looking a little more optimistic, a little more Prengley-like in that forecast for the Jaguars. So we'll get to all that and much more. So, hey, if you could stick around for a few minutes, we're going to keep going all the way through, 11:27. Is that okay? I know that's a lot of your Sunday, but spend as much time as we can together. Here's the deal. This forecast is very important. We're first of all for today, okay? So the boaters, the coastal interests, the marine areas, the salt life is not looking so good today, right? We've got the dangerous conditions continuing with the coastal flood warnings and advisories. So as we walk over, let's do a little chat here. Let's see what we can find. I'm going to walk over here to the walk and talk. And what we've been watching outside here today as we come over to the screen is this. We're talking about that weather impact alert our team issued last week. So that was for the first thing, beach erosion and coastal flooding. When we say coastal flooding, that's the kind of flooding that occurs at high tide. So we measure it by where you typically see dry ground. So I've got the dry ground here, right? Boom, boom, boom. And then basically the tide's running 1 to 2 feet above that ground level. And that's the key. So that's why we have the coastal flood warnings, because some areas like the docks get inundated with water, some road closures in those normally low-lying areas. So that's going to be the main concern today. Tides running 1 to 2 feet. And what's compounding this, I haven't done the fun graphic yet, and it's not so fun when it comes to flooding. We've got this beautiful moon. We've got a full moon this week. It's a super moon, the first one since November of 2024. And that actually puts more tug on those tides. It makes the tides a little higher, a little lower. And we don't want that, right? So what we call a king tide. So the moon, as it orbits around the earth elliptically, not as a circle, it's not a circle, so it's elliptical. So, it varies on how close it is to the earth. And unfortunately, it's going to be at one of its closest points we've seen since 2024. So again, as the week goes on, really, I see this coastal flood warning continuing possibly all the way until next weekend. So this is important for those that are along the St. Johns River that normally see some flooding, and those along the coastal areas, okay? So we're going to keep an eye on that all week long. Even though we're talking 1 to 2 feet today, that could be 2 to 3 feet as we go into later in the week, okay, because we still have that persistent onshore wind. The other thing we're watching, street flooding. We've really dodged the worst of the rain so far this weekend. Yesterday was not too bad at all. A lot of the soccer games were fine. We had these quick 5-minute showers. Sometimes it was sunny and raining at the same time. Nature trying to make up its mind. Just keep in mind as we go into the next 12 to 24 hours, I was talking about that vorticity and the maps that really got my interest this morning while you were sleeping in the middle of the night. I said, this is a little different, where we could have more of these downpours, more significant rain, where we could see some spots with localized flooding. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I'm thinking more tomorrow than today. And then as we look at our need, well, we've got the rain gear, okay? You've got to watch for some of those road closures, especially in those flood-prone areas as well. Now, as we keep a look at the main impacts, this is what we're all about, the impacts. So we know the high tides right now about 1 to 2.5 feet above ground. Okay, all right, we take a look at that. And then rough surf with breakers of 5 to 8 feet. In fact, I'm going to come over to the wall here, and we'll go to the chroma key and take a look at that. So yeah, if you've been out at the beach, what I don't like seeing, we've had weeks and weeks of this, weeks and weeks of just taking a pounding. So what I'm concerned about is all that beach erosion happening out there as well. And this is going to be a big factor as far as our impacts go here at home. So again, weather impact alert today, tomorrow, but really the beach is still taking that pounding. Look at these wave heights, okay? 6 feet, 8 feet, 7 feet. All up and down the Florida eastern seaboard. It goes all the way really up into the Carolinas at this point, and you can really see the flow in the atmosphere, an east wind continuing to bring in the high surf, it looks like, and that's going to continue at least for the next couple days. I see the wind at least starting to lighten up. In fact, let's take a look. Okay, we got the latest marine forecast today. Not looking for much of a break, are we? We got an east wind 15 to 25 knots, seas 6 to 10 feet. Rough on the intercoastal. So there's one of the days where, Captain Alvarez will, instead of taking the boat out off Jacksonville Beach, he tries to go on the intercoastal and we catch the big one, right? Well, today's not even going to look good for the inland fishing, unfortunately, with those small craft advisories in effect. Ocean temperature right now, 80 degrees, UV index of 7, and you can see that flow. Boy, just persistence, pugnacious. Just continuing as we head through tomorrow. We look at our high tides now. Okay, so we've had a couple high tide cycles overnight. Here's the updated list here, and we're talking about that coastal flood warning. So downtown Jacksonville, so this is at the Main Street Bridge, which will be open tomorrow. I know, finally. Okay, 8:50 p.m. tonight on that high tide. Buckman Bridge at 11:26 p.m. Fernandina, right about 8 o'clock, and then Palaca. So you notice that as you get toward Palaca, 2:27 p.m., they still have the tide coming in this afternoon. So with a couple downpours in the area, we'll have to watch the flooding risk highest, I think, if you look at this big list of places, Putnam County. All right, so Putnam County will be watching you. And then as we take a look at Jacksonville Beach and St. Augustine, we've got those tides this evening just after 7 o'clock. We look at the forecast winds. Well, they're east 15 to 25. Look at that gust of 26 miles per hour in St. Augustine, especially at the Pier Palm Coast, up to 27. Brunswick, St. Mary's. We're basically feeling the squeeze play. We've got a big high pressure to the north in Maryland. We've got a trough of low pressure offshore, front to the south. Wind speeds up, a squeeze play. So we got to call this a tight pressure gradient. As we head into Monday, things will try to relax as we head into especially the afternoon and the evening. Hopefully we relax the winds some there because we need a break here along the coast. But again, those tides will continue to run well above normal. Let's look around our beautiful home sweet home. We start with Georgia. All right, we got 82 St. Simons today, Brunswick. Okay, here's the deal. We're going to break this down. So if you're I-95 east, including Kingsland, I think most of our rain here as we head into early afternoon. I think we'll be done by early afternoon is what I'm saying. Okay, so as we get toward 2, 3 o'clock, we should be drying out. Now, the farther inland you go, you see Folkestone, Nahunta, some of those showers could linger a little longer toward 3 o'clock. And then by the time you go well inland, Waycross, you see that high of 81 with Homerville. It looks like you could even have some showers linger until late day. So basically with that east flow, showers earlier in the day toward the coast and then actually moving inland as we head into the afternoon. So just keep it in mind for your cookout plans. We can fire up the grills earlier out towards St. Simons compared to Homerville. We go to the south, Yulee to Atlantic Beach, Jacksonville. I think, again, most of our showers toward brunch. Okay, there's a lot of folks heading out to church services, but by the time we head toward 4 or 5 o'clock, it's going to look much drier. The sky may even look a little brighter, may get a little bit of sunshine like we saw yesterday. That would include Sawgrass, Nocatee, St. John's with that high of 82 degrees, and then notice toward Middleburg and Camp Blanding. This would be the area toward the west side, Cecil Aquatics, where we could see some of those showers linger a little later, maybe till 4 or 5 o'clock, so maybe wait till about 6 o'clock to fire up the grills. And then to the south we go, beautiful areas of Palaca. Okay, we're watching for that, right, that river flooding. Okay, some of those tides well above normal. Flagler Beach, 82. But the good news for Palaca is I think most of your heavy rain should be done by 4 o'clock. And then if you're out toward Lake City, Lake Butler, the I-75 corridor, you see Keystone Heights there at 82. We're talking about the showers lingering until late afternoon, but you should have a drier evening as well. So not a washout on our Sunday. We're still going to fire up the grill. It's just a matter of location, location, location. So let's go to the radar here. We see our weather impact alert, of course, today and tomorrow. Beach erosion. We talked about the coastal flooding, the high tides. Street flooding, yeah, let's take a close look at that. I'm going to walk back to go full screen here, walk back over here and take a look at our beautiful area. Let's, first of all, I want to thank Chloe, our director, doing a fabulous job as always. Let's look outside, Chloe. What do you got here? We're going to look outside, maybe go start with the beaches. Yeah. Okay, so that's where the rain's moving from east to west. So if you look out toward Jacksonville Beach, you've got the stratus coming at us. But at this point, looks like a little break in the rain. Okay, I like that trend for our friends at the beach up to Neptune Beach, the restaurant district where I like heading up there and getting a bite to eat this time of day. We'll come in and we'll do a little zoom in here. Okay, into Duval. In fact, if we go split screen, you can see the radar and what it looks like outside at the same time. Working a little TV magic here. But let's go into 3rd Street. Okay, one of the popular areas around the area with 3rd Street, all those good restaurants I was talking about. There's Jack's Beach, Neptune Beach, 15th Avenue North. Oh yeah, so there it is. So right now, you know, we've had some showers earlier move through. In fact, I'll slow this down. There we go. So everybody at home can stay with me here. And we'll play meteorologist together. There it is. So yeah, we had the heavy showers, you know, 9, 10 o'clock, Jack's Beach to Neptune Beach. And you know, some of these rain amounts, these rain totals were pretty good. We said we could see a quick 1/4 inch, and we had about a 1/4 inch per hour in these areas. But these showers didn't really last too long. Okay, so notice we put it into motion by 10 o'clock, it's gone, and not too much happening in Jack's Beach. As we expand the view, you can see where most of the showers are now. They're long gone, they're inland. So as we head down toward our friends to the south side, St. John's, you had a few showers earlier. In fact, you can see right off Longleaf Parkway, had a couple gully washers there along 210 St. John's Parkway with some of those showers earlier, 9, 10 o'clock. So the brunch showers were out there. And now, again, the trend is inland. There's Longleaf. It's dry now, crossing the river toward Magnolia Springs. Watching our friends in Green Cove Springs right now over to Penny Farm. So this is really the main area I'm watching for rain, Fleming Island, Middleburg. So we said the earlier onset showers would be east, and then they'll head on to the west. And right now, based on radar, it looks like they're trying to make an early move to the west, which I don't think anybody's complaining with all of our weekend plans. But let's do a little storm tracker here on this together. And again, no severe weather. And what I like, you know, we've got a lot of soccer games and sporting events out there here on this Sunday. We're not seeing any lightning here. So that's some very, very good news. In fact, let's take a look. We'll do a little storm track from Fleming Island. It's now off toward Middleburg. Yeah, if you're down toward Doctors Inlet, St. Vincent Medical Center and Asbury Lake, you know, we're going to see some of those showers here in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Penny Farms, you can see a few showers as well. So let's expand the view, and we're going to go out big time here so we can see everybody. And there we go. We got Crescent City, Jacksonville. Earlier this morning, of course, we had the heaviest rain in southeast Georgia, but looking much better in Brunswick and Folkston right now. You see some of that rain we had this morning and trending to the west. So if you look offshore, I'm going to light up as many radars as we can to get a good look at it. Yeah, just a very few, very, very isolated showers. So that's good news. So it looks like the forecast is holding true, whereas once we get toward early afternoon to mid-afternoon, the drying trend is our friend. Just keep in mind, you go just inland a little farther west, some of these showers will hold on. So Glen St. Mary, McClenny seeing some of the showers, Sanderson. In fact, I'll slow this down for our friends out here in Baker County. The Okefenokee, there's Baldwin and McClenny now seeing some of those heavier showers as well. And then we go back toward Lake City, looking good now, but these are the areas, Lake City, High Springs. I know we got a lot of viewers there. Fort White, yeah, we're not forgetting about you. Baker, Union County toward Lake Butler and Brooker. You have a few showers, but these are the areas that would actually need the rain the most. In fact, I'm going to circle these areas here. So the areas to watch for some of the heavier rain as we head into the afternoon would be right in this corridor here. So you go really Highway 301 off to the west, right along I-10. We're going to continue to watch that area carefully. If there is good news, you know, I'm keeping that glass half full and then more. That's what I do. We go to a little drought outlook here. And as I call it up here on the weather camera and the weather computer, there it is. So areas that really need the rain that have seen less than a 1/4 inch this weekend should have the heaviest amounts this afternoon. So that does include Lake City, and that does include areas of McClenny back to Bradford County and Union County, looking good, okay, even toward Gainesville. So I'll have to warn my daughter to make sure she has her rain gear handy. So overall, this afternoon, again, going zone by zone, it does look like we'll have a drying trend, which is our friend. Now, as you look at the latest 12 hours, so this is the latest model data, and I said we'd be updating forecast together here because this is all new information. Let's look at the inland beach. I know Chloe called up a camera at the beach, and I'm going to call up here. Let's take a look. I'll do a little walk and talk here, Chloe. I have a couple cameras I can share as I do a little walk and talk and look at our beautiful audience out there. So I'm going to walk over here and take a look at Jacksonville. We have downtown Jacksonville and Jacksonville Beach, and notice, yeah, still some clouds, but if you look carefully, yeah, not as ominous as it was earlier. I mean, we've got a few breaks in the clouds, and I think this afternoon we could actually have a little sunshine. Yeah, so that's some good news because I plan to get outside a little, right? We got to get outside and enjoy our beautiful place we call home. So let's come on back to the wall, and here's what I'm talking about. So we want the fresh model data. That's why we're streaming. What's new? What do you need to know? Well, things change every hour. So here's our updated forecast We do have the drier afternoon. Now, with some of the breaks in the clouds and the heating, maybe popping an isolated shower. So if something's changed, yeah, the computer's saying, well, maybe we will get a pop-up shower around 6 o'clock. I know I told you to fire up the grill, but this is very isolated, not the kind of rain that would worry me if I have some guests coming over to enjoy some football. So right now you can see that's just a isolated shower early evening, and then things should dry out quickly this evening with temperatures mainly in the 70s. And then if you look at the beach forecast, our new data coming in. Okay, so Jack's Beach, we've got the clouds, a little bit of sunshine, still showing maybe a late day isolated shower. That's about it. So it looks like, as expected, most of our rain was this morning, early afternoon, and then things will really settle down as we head into the afternoon. Let's come back. You ready for the tropics? Okay, we got our tropical update. This in from the National Hurricane Center. Good news is we are October 5th, and pretty amazing, we don't have any named storms. That is unusual, okay? I know it's been busy lately, but we don't have any named systems to track. You do have this big red area that catches your attention, okay? So should be okay for us. Okay, let's take a look at why. We got 70% chance of development. Will this be a named storm? I think it will, okay? But not all the models are agreeing on that, so just keep that in mind. The X closest to home, okay, that's a weak area of low pressure near the Texas-Louisiana border, near 0% chance. And of course, we had a little hatch over Florida earlier in the weekend with another low pressure near the Bahamas. That has since weakened, so not expecting any development there. So yeah, right now, sitting pretty. No immediate threats to us here in Jacksonville. We put the models into motion. So we got the European and the GFS, and we're looking for tight concentric circles. Okay, we're not seeing much of that in the tropics. So I'm looking at that one wave we showed you, the big red across the central Atlantic. And you see the American model trying to develop something here, maybe a name system. But if you look at the European, we don't see any yellow circles. In fact, I'm going to come over the weather wall here. We're not seeing agreement right now. So that may tell us it's not set in stone that our system would form. There is a lot of wind shear in the tropics. I know the water temperatures are really peaking out. But at this point, the news is good in the tropics. Let's put this tropical moisture flow into motion. So here's San Juan, Puerto Rico. Here's what we're watching, this big blob, this little yellow area here. That's our deepest tropical moisture. This is going to make a move to the west-northwest. Okay, so this could be a developing system near Puerto Rico, but look what's happening at home. This is really good news. This is another cold front. This is the front that is going to go through Missouri, going to go through Columbia, cool down some of my friends up there in Chicago. This same front will make it all the way to Jacksonville. I'm looking at some new data that came in just before the streaming show. It's showing highs maybe only in the low to mid 70s here in Jacksonville as we go into late week into the weekend. That's something that's new. Okay, so that in combination with the trajectory of where this is heading, and because we do, and I'm more confident we will have a front make it all the way to Florida. This would tend to keep it well east of Jacksonville and Florida and the East Coast. So hopefully that trend is our friend, and I think right now you can say I have high confidence in that. In fact, we look at the long-range forecast. Here's our tropical envelope. Here's our possible developing system that could be called Jerry. Okay, here it comes toward Puerto Rico, but look what's happening over us. Front makes it all the way into North Florida. In fact, I think this will make it even much farther south, so that would tend to cause the upper level winds to move southwest and northeast. So these things are like hot air balloons. They'll fill the upper level winds, and this should scoot to the east of us and the United States. But again, it's day to day, but right now it's looking good. Areas of development. So we look at the climatology in the Atlantic, and where you see the deep orange. Okay, we got the orange and we got the green. This is a very busy month, so right now, even though things are looking very promising, we check back every day because of this. In the area I'm watching, I know I showed you the Atlantic. I've been talking about this for weeks. I said, I know, we got to keep an eye on the Caribbean. We got to keep an eye down here because this is where most of our warmest waters in the tropical basin are. And at this time of year, we get what's called a Central American low pressure or gyre that forms. And when that forms, and you got the warmest weather, you can easily spin up a low pressure. What happens? We get low pressure, and if you got low shear, it could turn tropical in a hurry. And look where these tracks head, right up toward Florida. So long way to go. We have about 25% of our hurricane and tropical season yet to go, so we'll be fine, but we're going to continue to check back every day. Next 12 hours. Okay, let's take a look, and you know we're updating these models together, and you can see hopping right back to Jacksonville. We're not going to get that cold front today. It's very muggy out there. I was talking about that cooler weather late week into the weekend. So notice we still have low 80s Models keeping those rain chances very low. We may bump it up briefly this evening, but I think chicken on the grill is a go. And then as we head through overnight, looking very good. Tomorrow morning, I know we got to get the kids ready for school. We're getting ready for work. Tomorrow morning could change where the rain chances will come right back up in the morning, and it could include the afternoon. So I'm going to go over the computer here. Let's take a look at the very latest futurecast. We'll go full screen. In fact, Chloe, if you want to call up the Anders tower cam, I believe that's number 2. It would be number 2. I think it is. Okay. Or, I'll just follow whatever you have up. But that'll show some of the wind as I update some of this data there with the audience. But there it is. So there's our breezy Sunday we're all watching, and it's that persistent east wind that's been bringing in these showers. And you can see out there right now, we're not looking at too much widespread rain. It's more hit or miss. And if we go split screen here, you can see over the next 2 days, here's the problem. We got getting back to school and work tomorrow. We've got the Jaguars game. I said we have the updated Jaguars forecast. So we're getting close. Hang in there. We're going to have the update together here. First of all, tomorrow, we can show that other screen there, Chloe, the weather computer on the right. And you can see we've got that rain chance up to 90%, really what we call 90% coverage tomorrow. And if you look at the deep green, even some yellow popping up, that's telling us, we're going to have more in the way of downpours tomorrow. So I've got downpours likely, and we are going to take the ponchos for the Jaguars. Okay, so that's the key. We're still going to do that. As we look at the futurecast, though, I was telling you I have more new information that looks a little more promising. So I'm going to call up the latest futurecast here, and we'll do an MP futurecast, okay? And basically what it was showing was a little better weather. So we'll do a short-term futurecast that's coming up for today, and then we're going to do a next. So these are in-house models we use every day. And these give us a guide. So as a meteorologist, these are not gospel, and we do our own forecast, but these kind of are a good sign of at least what's trending in some of the models. So as we look up here and you see the screen on the right, I'm going to go through these with you. And you can see the rest of this afternoon showing most of those showers trending inland. So I circled that big area, Baker County, Highway 301 West. You can see where the heavier, more widespread rain is. And then as we go into the evening, things should settle down. I can't rule out an isolated shower in Jacksonville, but notice very quiet temperatures, mid to upper 70s. But here's the new stuff I wanted you to see here. All right, the new stuff is showing, yes, not quite as bad tomorrow. So here's our futurecast. All right, so there's today. That's all lining up nicely. This is a different model, what we call the graph model. Here's overnight tonight. All right, and there's our showers as we wake up tomorrow morning. I'm going to put this here, and then we'll see here. There's 5:20, and then we'll go to the Jaguar game at about, that'll do it. And then we'll go from there, and then we'll just pause it here. So basically, and I'll get the Jaguar forecast all lined up. As we look at the latest Jaguar forecast, we're saying take the ponchos. But with that said, all right, this might be a good omen for the game as well. Put the Jags forecast right there. There is hope that it could be maybe a little bit drier for the Jaguars. In fact, I got that forecast all called up in the new forecast and updated forecast. And here we go. All right, so, and we get that, and over to the wall I go. Let's go to the walk and talk. There's a look outside at Everbank Stadium, the whole country watching us here in Jacksonville tomorrow. Are the Jaguars for real? Well, if that defense plays the way they've been playing, I think we can beat anybody on any given day, any given Monday, Sunday, Thursday, you name it. Let's come back to the weather wall, and here's the new stuff I've got. All right, so this afternoon, heaviest rain is now going to be to the west of Jacksonville, moving toward Lake City, areas that really badly need it. They're in that drought that I talked about. Notice rain chances, Jacksonville only 20%, Brunswick 20%, along with St. Augustine. By the time you get to Lake City, that would be the area that could see that 60% chance of rain. Let's put it into motion. Okay, so tonight there's that isolated shower. With that east wind, you can't rule out a brief shower. Okay, it's not going to last long, and that'll be moving from east to west. That does include St. Johns County, Putnam County, areas of Clay County. So new data tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow I did expect showers early, downpours. I said there could be a better chance of downpours and maybe some localized flooding. Right now, not looking too bad, but notice the rain chance 70% as we wake up in St. Augustine. Okay, temperature of 78, pretty high rain chances in Brunswick and Jacksonville. And again, this is just a guide. And then as we head through the day, okay, the models aren't showing too much in the way of heavy rain. So this would be a little bit of a change where we're still expecting some downpours at times. There's some in Brunswick. But again, the trend would be inland. So we're watching what happens today that could help us with tomorrow, because I don't see a huge change in the atmosphere at this point. So notice drier weather. So here we head toward kickoff, 8 o'clock, 8:50. So we'll be in the first quarter by the time we're up 10 points, right? Jacksonville right now, 10% chance of rain. Brunswick near 0. And then St. Augustine would have that 40% chance of rain. But this is a big change from the last run. So the models have been going back and forth at this point. Right now, it could still change, of course, but what I'm looking at in the forecast is occasional downpours tomorrow morning, afternoon. And I think most of our downpours, even though this is not showing it, would be with the peak heating. So for the drive home, we head toward lunchtime. Drive home would be the window to look for the heavier rain, and then things will settle down. In fact, as we go into Tuesday, we're looking for some sunshine. There it is, a brighter Tuesday. Yeah, we'll still have a few scattered showers. I kept the rain chance at 60%. But at least things will improve. So without further ado, drum roll please, and thank you for waiting and waiting through the whole show for this. Jaguars, Chiefs, updated forecast.